Number 322.
All right. You both were members of Skull and Bone. What is that, fellas? Not much.
Opioids are physiologically identical to humans, yet they're not conscious and they can feel no pain. They can be used as meat for consumption.
Yeah. I was sleeping, had to wake up. Why? Every reason I could think.
What's up, YouTube? Today, we'll be looking at disturbing TikToks that'll make you question reality. So without further ado, welcome to Adam Strain Reacts. Let's get her done.
Coming straight out of the Galapagos Islands, it's the marine iguana, the only ocean-feeding lizard on Earth. Despite the look, its survival depends on the sea. Its diet comes from marine algae growing below the surface. When algae becomes scarce, it can actually shrink its body by reabsorbing bone to survive. But feeding in an ocean comes with a cost. The cold ocean strips heat from its body, forcing it back onto the rocks. Once you understand how it lives, the way it looks starts to make sense.
Wow, I'd never seen that type of lizard. It makes me think that Godzilla might be more of a true story than we think because he looks exactly like Godzilla looks. Let me know if you guys agree, and let's keep on rocking.
This past week, an MIT review, they want to do is take out the neural functions. It's a human without feeling, without thinking, without ideas. It's just what MIT calls in this review a spare body, a spare tire, bodyoids.
MIT scientists want to grow human bodies dubbed bodyoids. Now, these bodyoids are physiologically identical to humans, yet scientists insist that they are not conscious and they can feel no pain. Scientists are stating that ethically sourced spare bodies could revolutionize medicine through things like organ donation. These bodyoids are not only intended to provide medical miracles, they can be used as meat for consumption.
All right, so here's the article. So MIT Technological Review, it's ethically sourced spare human bodies could revolutionize medicine. Human bodyoids. So remember that word. And here it says, recent advances in biotechnology now provides a pathway to produce living human bodies without the neural components that allow us to think, be aware, or feel pain. And then maybe one day we'll be able to create spare bodies.
Are bodyoids similar to body yachties?
If they could get these cordyceps to control this, I'm sure you can see some body yachties.
Wow. It's pretty intense. I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, the fact that they're presenting it with the mention ethically sourced makes me think that it's less than ethical, first of all. But the only thing I'm going to say is if this is going to lower the amount of people that go missing per year, I might be willing to consider it. Let's keep on rocking.
This one's in Thailand.
Been in Thailand before.
Have you?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. What comes with the island? There's a small villa there. You could practically build if you want.
There's building space.
Yeah, there's.
Do the islands come with the children, or are the children
This
island
does have a small school. There are children.
Okay, so I don't know if that was a stupid.
Yeah, if they're
What countries are near to abduct them from?
Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam,
Philippines.
The Philippines.
Oh, cool.
The Filipinos, if they're not being a nurse, they're being your crew. Okay, so.
True.
Yeah, so.
What age ranges?
Below 10,
It's probably a setup. It sort of looks like it's part of a reality show or like a prank. But the people do seem to be responding quite... I guess it's a manifestation of what people think is going on. Because from what I understand, the island that everyone's talking about might not be the only one that exists. So let me know what you guys think down below. You think it's possible that there's other islands and that situations like this happen? Do you think this is a real video? Me personally, I'm not too convinced. Anyways, let me know down below and let's keep on rocking.
Oh my God. Oh.
Now, let's find out if they stand on travel. There's that 5 from the one on Tuesday.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What is that, fellas? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, a secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
Tim Russert, the moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief, collapsed and died early this afternoon. In your living room, no.
Трипа-трипа-лоски, десять тусую, под харбас танцую. Трипа-лоски, трипа-трипа-лоски.
Although Russia isn't for beginners, number 3 and number 2 were fake because the bear was not a real bear, obviously, and the guy that went through that bus was actually for a movie. It was like a high-speed stunt that they were doing. So just to say that, not everything you see is real neither. Let's keep on rocking.
Do you guys remember Shia LaBeouf starring in many different motion pictures, namely Transformers? Do you remember when he had a little bit of a breakdown, was kind of exposing certain things, and many called him crazy? Do you think that had anything to do with this clip I'm going to show you now?
I remember we had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house, or OnStar, they could shut your car down. And he told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation I had 2 years prior. Come on, joining the picture. The FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls. It was like, what are you wearing type of things.
Now, I heard a whistleblower say that when we think of spies, we think of them as like, James Bond sneaking around. But in fact, according to this whistleblower, like 90% of spy work entails blackmail. And when he said 1 in 5, this has got to be like 15 years ago this video came out. 1 in 5, dude, anything you do on your friggin' phone, any keystroke is being recorded. Audio, talk about 5 out of 5 phone calls are freaking recorded, guaranteed. And I think that's going to be used at some point, or I bet you the intention is, to link it to your digital ID. At some point, something's going to crack here around the corner with digital ID and social media. It's going to be crazy. We need to resist. But I think he was trying to tell us. Let me know your thoughts below and follow for more.
You know what? Yeah, it's a pretty crazy time we live in where everything seems to be like the net seems to be closing in on us. I've heard something recently about they were talking about controlling people's speech online, and it had to do with anti-Shemitism. But basically what they were saying is that if ever you get flagged or, declared as one of these bad people, that basically they're going to put a note or something along those lines on the Google Ads and the SEO so that throughout your whole life, it would never be forgotten and that it would follow you your whole life. So what he's saying about merging with the digital ID or whatnot seems to be one of the plans that are in motion for a near future. So if you have the opportunity to vote against it or to make it be known or to not conform, I would highly recommend to think about it because it seems to be coming quicker than we imagine it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below and let's keep on rocking.
Grocery stores are designed so that the only way to reach the exit is by awkwardly walking through the checkout lanes. Well, it's to discourage you from leaving without buying anything. Grocery stores will also place the produce section right at the entrance so that you'll grab the fruits and vegetables first and then hopefully feel less guilty about grabbing junk food later on. Another way that they get you to spend more money is by arranging the cereal aisles so that the sugary cereals are like at a child's eye level, so they're more likely to grab one, while the healthier options are way up top. You might have also noticed that essential items like milk and eggs are deliberately placed all the way in the back of the store so that you're forced to walk through other aisles to get to them. And they make sure to fill the ends of the aisles with a lot of unhealthy options like snacks and sodas to make sure that you come across them while on your way to the essential items. They're also very much aware that these tactics become less effective after you visit the store a few times and get a better sense of where everything is, so they'll regularly move the products to different aisles to disorient you. Some grocery stores like Whole Foods have doubled the size of their shopping carts over the last decade because a study found that doubling the size results in a 40% increase in sales.
That's why they...
Wow. Isn't that crazy when you start realizing that everything in life has a meaning and a purpose? It really makes me think about when you start looking into the etymology of words and you start seeing the meaning behind things that we sort of lost the meaning through time, but we still use as a tradition the saying or the word. Well, it makes me think of the same exact thing, that basically everything has a reason. And I think it's the same way in movies and in absolutely everything. The color of that the person is wearing means something, where they are, what temperature it is, all the colors that are in the scene, the flashbacks. Anyways, all that to say that I find it super interesting. I'd never seen this one about, I'd seen one or two about the supermarkets, but this video was like very precise and I really like it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let's keep on rocking.
They would make children suck on silver spoons when they were ill, because silver is a conductive material. So when they would put a silver spoon, it was increasing the conductivity of that person and therefore instantaneously person. Because if we think of humans, we are electrical beings which run off of electricity. Therefore, if you are under the influence of sucking on a silver spoon will help bring that electricity back into the body. And what's interesting is when we think of the olden times, everybody would use silver cutlery and copper cutlery. Specifically, even the royal family. And so all of their food would touch silver cutlery. And the silver would then exert a frequency onto their food which they were going to eat, which would then, as a result, increase the conductivity of their food. So if you eat with a conductive material, you're keeping the life of that food, and at the same time, you're increasing the conductivity of that food, which you will then consume. And as a result, this will then increase the conductivity of that person and therefore instantaneously. And if you look at the cutlery today, it's all stainless steel or plastic, which are both non-conductive. And this was done deliberately because these will not increase the conductivity of the food, and therefore you will not have an increase in frequency when eating these foods. So silver spoons from the 1800s is a very interesting one.
Well, I guess that's just to prove my point that sometimes we use sayings and we don't remember why. Well, growing up with a silver spoon means that you had privilege growing up, right? But look, it really had a meaning. It really had a purpose. You understand what I'm saying? Very interesting. I had no idea about this. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to get me one of those and I'll let you guys know, because to be honest, I feel like we're doing it all wrong. Like drinking water out of copper. As soon as we removed the tubes of copper going into the house, we put PVC, we started putting fluoride, etc., etc. I just feel like we've been going in the absolute wrong direction when it comes to health, nutrients, and keeping ourselves healthy. So anyways, I found this video super interesting. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let's keep on rocking.
From where I stand, all disorders, all learning disabilities are digestive. And that is the clinical experience of 20 years of work. And that is what's being confirmed now by the new explosion in science, in research. That's the scientific name for gut flora. We called it gut flora for decades, and now the scientists started looking at it finally and called it. And they're discovering all sorts of things, all sorts of functions that our gut flora fulfills. So gut and psychology is a connection between the functioning of the digestive system and the functioning of the brain of the person, despite the fact that they're far away from each other. And our medicine doesn't understand this connection. As they give the person antidepressants and anti-epileptic pills, where does the person put those pills to affect their brain? Into their stomach. They place it into their digestive system to affect the brain. And still I don't understand the connection. How can the two things be so far apart and be connected? So what kind of conditions are we talking about? Let's start with
I really like the lining where she was going with this, because I've heard a lot of similar things. I've heard that there are neurons around the heart and around the gut. And, we say, again, to come back to the etymology and where, sayings come from, we do say, trust your gut. And there is something there's something to be said about that the fact that we feel like there's something coming from within our gut. And I feel like it's not far. I've been seeing a lot of different stuff lately also as to when people get a diagnosis for a chronic illness or some type of illness, that in reality, when you do a flushing as for parasites and infectious microbiomes, that you end up having good results. So it kind of makes sense, that there's like this link between the gut. And when she makes that parallel with the pills for the brain taken in the gut, actually makes sense as well. Let me know what you guys think down below, and let's keep on rocking.
This is the contract between the Vatican and the King of England. Many people don't know that the King of England made a contract with the Vatican in the Middle Ages. The Pope declared himself the Vicar of Christ. This in Latin means someone who stands in for someone else. He is known as the Vicar of Christ today. The Vatican, as most Christians do, believe that God created the heavens and the earth, leaving the Pope to stand in for Jesus while he is in heaven and not on earth, ruling temporarily. The Pope, however, is also a very busy man. He has a lot of duties to perform, hence the contract with the King of England. This is when the names changed. This is when the people of the Engles, England, became the people of Britain. This is actually a name that was given to the people of England from the Hebrew, the original English language, from the Hebrew barith. Up here you can see the Hebrew word with the translation, covenant, barith. Up until recently, I thought it was the King of Troy that escaped to the British Isles after the fall of Troy. Hebrew is the solution. It is the one language that is old enough, but also young enough to be taken. Ish is contract of man. Barith, covenant, ish, contract. Contract law is banking law. Banking law is the Vatican's law. It is not this guy's law, it is the other guy's law. Or banking law. The S is the snake.
If you put a chicken...
That was very interesting. I don't really know much about that square in England and the ramifications behind it. But it does make sense that there was a connection there, because he said before they call them the Brits, they would call them the Angles. The Angles, if I'm not mistaken, is very close to angels. So it's kind of interesting, the connection that we're seeing there between the Hebrew and the English. So I don't know if you guys have any more information towards that. Don't be afraid. A lot of people have been sending me videos, and I appreciate it. If you guys have any more of that, send it over, because the fact that Brits would have a Hebrew root to the name, wow, that's the first time I've ever heard that, and I'm really looking for more. So I'm going to do a deep dive and try to figure out a bit more on that, and I'll get back to you guys. If you guys have any information, don't hesitate to share, and let's keep on rocking.
In the oven, it goes from pink to brown, right? You've seen this. It cooks. This process of cooking is called glycation. It's the process of browning or of cooking. Same thing when you toast a piece of toast, for example. The interesting thing is, a human being, from the moment we're born, we're slowly cooking in that same way on the inside. We're slowly glycating. We're slowly browning. And then when we're fully glycated, when we're fully cooked, we die. That's why when you look at the cartilage of babies, it's white. And if you look at the cartilage of somebody who's 90 years old, it's brown. They've cooked on the inside. And every glucose spike increases this process of glycation. So much so that glucose and glycation, they kind of sound like a similar word, glucose glycation. It's because it's glucose doing the glycating. So every glucose spike increases glycation, increases cooking, accelerates aging. And this shows on your skin. You get wrinkles faster if you glycate more, and also on the inside, your organs slowly get damaged. So glucose spikes, mitochondria get tired, you age faster. In response to this, your body knows, Stephen, that a big glucose spike is not good for you. Your body knows that it has to do something to try to get that glucose level down. So what it does, it calls up your pancreas, and it's like, yo, pancreas, we got a glucose spike going on. We need to get this glucose down. In response, your pancreas sends a hormone called insulin out in your body. You've heard of insulin before, right? Mm-hmm. And insulin's job, and we love her job is to grab all these excess glucose molecules and to store them away so they don't damage your body anymore. And insulin stores glucose away into your liver, into your muscles, and then when those are full, insulin stores glucose away into your fat cells. And that's one of the ways that you gain fat on your body. It's in response to the spikes and your body trying to protect you from the spikes. The problem is, insulin itself has consequences and is the driver of type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. So to answer your question, yes, when you see a big spike on your glucose monitor, there's some of that going on. And the more spikes you have, the harder it is going to be for your body to manage your spikes. So it kind of becomes a vicious cycle. If you keep eating the same way, your spikes will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time with more and more damage.
Wow, that was well explained. I really like the way she was talking to us. I like where she's coming from with all this information. And I also like the fact that they often tell us, okay, sugar's bad, sugar's bad, sugar's bad. How? Explain it to me. Because we do know that glucose is a part of natural foods. It's a part of the stuff that we need to power our body, our cells. So to have a distinction here and to explain about the spikes and what happens in your body, amazing. I love it. I love the fact that we're getting more information, making us more powerful, having more free will, able to make decisions to help us live a healthier lifestyle. And anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. But I love the way that she broke that down. And it really gives me an incentive to understanding why a glucose spike is bad for my body and might cause inflammation or gaining fat or this or that, right? Super interesting. Let me know what you think down below. Let's keep on rocking.
I actually got a hold of some people at the PBI airport and got some answers on this interesting status update that's been starting to go viral today. I've had a lot of people send it to me. Thankfully, people were available at midnight. Enjoy.
Miss International, sign recording.
Hi, I'm looking at your Palm Beach International post on a status website. It says it's closed to aircraft equipped with modification or geoengineering equipment. What exactly does that mean?
When there's weather, that the airport might be closed. It all depends on the weather.
Oh, I understand, but it says it's closed to aircraft equipped with weather modification or geoengineering equipment.
Hold on.
Sure.
Palm Beach Airport.
Hi, I'm looking at a post on the status, the FAA status for a PBI, and it says that Palm Beach International is closed to aircraft equipped with modification or geoengineering equipment, and I'm curious what exactly that means.
Are you a pilot?
I know. My friend is, though, and they sent this to me, and they also don't know what exactly this means.
Hold on one sec, okay? Airport was named the 5th best airport in the operations.
But PBI posted, Palm Beach International is closed to aircraft equipped with weather or geoengineering equipment.
Right.
And I'm just...
Yeah, that's for the cloud, the aircraft that's got those tubes on it there for...
Clouds.
That's it, yeah. Closed to that.
Oh,
in other
okay.
words, not allowed.
I see.
And that's kind of a thing that the state of Florida is mandating, part of the environmental thing, and required the Florida airports to follow that.
Gotcha. Okay. When did that get put up?
I was briefed about it about a week ago.
Okay. So that's a permanent post for until
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. And so before that, was PBI taking in cloud seeding aircraft?
There was some aircraft in the past, and I know it's been probably a couple of years where they were weather monitoring, weather equipped, or were doing something as far as weather goes, which wasn't an issue then, but it is now. All the airports are supposed to follow that.
Okay.
The GA airports. Any airport in the state of Florida is not supposed to allow that. If there is weather seeding equipment on board, then it has to get a pre-approval before coming in. In other words, would have to call the airport, give all the information, the arrival time, the aircraft number, whatever it is, for pre-approval. And then there's two people that we have to report it to.
Well, that's pretty interesting, especially considering the fact that they say it's something that we don't do. Why they would have to pass a law stating that they do it. Yeah, I find that it's very interesting. And the man seemed to know exactly what he was talking about. What is interesting is that it feels like even though he wasn't trying to, he kind of showed us what the loophole was, where now they stated that, okay, cloud seeding is illegal, right? But he says, but there is a system in place for that. If you come with that type of stuff, all you got to do is send the information, and then we write it down and we send it to someone. So if you paid the tax, I guess it's fine, right? So it's just, I don't know. It's very interesting, the fact that they came out with a law of something that theoretically doesn't exist, and that, they're saying that some still pass, and basically they send the information, they write them down, and there you go, Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Is this enough? Should we do more? Should every state be like that? Should the whole world be like that? Let me know what you think down below, and let's keep on rocking.
You have to report it to.
How many people know this, but a woman in the 1970s taped everything that aired on TV for almost 40 years because she predicted the rise of fake news. Marian Stokes was a public access television producer, a businesswoman, and an activist in the 1970s who was also an avid collector of things. By today's standards, she'd probably be diagnosed as a hoarder. But she was also convinced that we were headed down a path where technology would eventually become so great that the powers that be could manipulate information to lie to us about any historical event that they wanted. So she married her hoarding skills with this grand vision. And in 1977, she started taping everything that aired on TV 24/7. She mostly wanted to tape the news, but she also taped TV shows like The Cosby Show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and Star Trek because she was afraid that somebody was going to eventually erase the contributions of these black actors and creators from historical record. She did this by recording the different TV channels 24/7 on VHS tapes on multiple VCRs and TVs throughout her house. Each VHS tape had an 8-hour capacity, and when one would run out, she would quickly switch it out for the other all day and night, every day. She did this every single day for decades, and yes, it is as life-consuming as it sounds. In fact, she scheduled her entire daily routine around the length of these VHS tapes, with everything like school and work and family outings being planned around her being able to start a fresh tape, go out, and then come back in time to start the next one. Her collection of these tapes eventually got so big that they filled her entire house, and she started having to rent multiple storage units to house them. She eventually collected over 71,000 Betamax and VHS tapes throughout her lifetime. But these recordings weren't the only thing that she collected throughout those years. She also had half a dozen daily newspaper subscriptions and over 100 monthly magazine subscriptions that she collected for decades. She also owned 192 Macintosh computers that she bought throughout these years, which is believed to be the largest private collection of historical Macintoshes. And she even at one point told her in-laws to invest in Apple early on, and they got very rich from this. Marian Stokes recorded everything on TV between 1977 and her death in 2012. Eventually, as she got older, she hired an assistant to help her with the tape switching. And the very final thing that she recorded on December 14th of 2012 before her death was coverage of the Sandy Hook shooting. In 2013, a year after her death, Marian Stokes' son donated her entire tape collection to the Internet Archive. It took 4 shipping containers and $16,000 to mail it to their headquarters in San Francisco. And upon receiving it, they started the process of digitizing every tape. And to this day, in 2025, they are still not done. And while many people probably view what Marian Stokes was doing for those 37 years as a pointless, quixotic task, as you can see from everything going on around us, she was right. She was a visionary ahead of her time. So hats off to the true OG, Marian Stokes. And real quick, if you like my videos and you also enjoy pointless, quixotic tasks, you can check out more in-depth writing from me by going here.
Wow, what an amazing woman. Oh, man. She had her finger on the pulse, and everyone must have thought that she was crazy. And you see how nowadays it's become mainstream to think that people like this are crazy, but man, the collection that she has, I'm sure, is priceless, completely priceless. I'm going to start looking into the collection that she built. That is amazing. Man, if you have a dream, follow it. Don't let them don't let them convince you of anything. If you got a dream, if you believe in something, make it happen. Anyways, thank you so much for rocking with me. This is the end. And that's a wrap for today, familia. Whether you're tuning in with the sunrise or you're posted up after midnight, I appreciate your time, your energy, your curiosity. And don't forget, this isn't about truth or fiction. This is about perspective. If this sparked a laugh, a thought, a deeper question, then we did our job. So drop your thoughts in the comments, keep the convo alive, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you're riding a wave, because we're just getting started. Until next time, stay grounded, stay weird, stay critical. I'm Adam Strain, and this has been Adam Strain Reacts. Peace! Now's the time for us to link up. Really think we on the brink up. Making a change from living this strange. Living this strange.